Hello everyone and welcome back. It has been several years now, but I figured I have a good enough PC now that I no longer need to record directly off the PlayStation 2's hardware, which put out relatively low quality video. Now I'm actually playing on the PCSX2 emulator, and I think we're going to start anew, because we never really got all that far before. And as you can see, the quality is much better than it ever was on the... I was recording off of... I forget what it was called, but it was just a little USB device that you plugged the analog cables into. And it put out the same relatively low quality output as the PlayStation 2 had for its time. It was standard definition, you know, and it was also, I believe some of the videos were in 4:3 aspect ratio, square screen. Well, I've got a brand new computer now that I got a couple months ago, and it is much more than capable of emulating this game. In fact, in my opinion, better than the PlayStation 3 output, because I have Warship Gunner on the PlayStation 3 as well, and it has certain graphical issues that I have not noticed on the PC emulator. So, without further ado, let us start a new game, normal difficulty. March 25th, 1939, 1,000 hours. Start of the joint Wilkian naval exercise. Alright, you can't just cheat in training. What the hell? Firing live ammo? Well, I guess I'm switching to live ammo too then.
Enemy ship sunk. Enemy ship sunk. Enemy ship sunk. Enemy ship sunk. Enter engagement mode. Enemy ship sunk. 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 Enemy ship sunk.
For those that are new to the channel, Warship Gunner 2 is a relatively obscure game. I've only seen a few people play it on YouTube. Basically, you can build your own ships, and you sink other ships. There's a little bit of a story to it. It's not really that well written, or maybe just that well translated. It is originally a Japanese title, and most of the storyline was not translated. Well, it was translated. Most of it was not voice acted. As you can see here, you'll see characters talking in these boxes. In the Japanese version of the game, they are voiced. In the English version of the game, you must read it yourself. I would also add that you might notice several spelling errors and typos in these boxes. I might point them out as I notice them as well. The game is quite fun. And there's thousands of parts that you can research and put on your ships. You can build ships of various classes: frigates, destroyers, submarines, cruisers, battleships, carriers, and battle carriers, as well as various special types of ships that you unlock much later. There are actually 3 paths that you can follow in the game, depending on your decisions within the first 2 missions. These slightly affect which missions you receive, which bosses you fight, and also parts of the story are slightly different. Anyway, let us continue. So what just happened is our allied vessels attacked us with live ammunition during what was supposed to be a training exercise. And we have a wall of text incoming that will describe some lore. The Kingdom of Wilkia, our fatherland. Its origins are said to lie with the Wilks, a tribe with Danish roots that migrated from northern Europe. It was established at the base of the Amur River, where the tribe settled after crossing the New World. Before long, our land was controlled by dominant neighboring kingdoms, a situation that continued until modern times. However, 1 century ago, we reached a turning point. During the Crimean War, our country received aid from European countries seeking to cause disorder in the outlying areas of the empire. And we emerged victorious in our War of Independence. Several decades later, Wilkia was invaded once again in an attempt to reincorporate us into the Empire. The invasion was foiled thanks to our alliance with Japan, our neighbors across the sea. In the Great European War that followed, our country marched into the theater of battle, where we played a supporting role in the creation of the current Republic of Germany. To this day, we still maintain alliances with Britain, the German Republic, and Japan. After the war, Wilkia underwent a period of dramatic growth and modernization. It became an industrial nation with a powerful navy. In those days, I spent most of my time devoting myself to training operations as a Royal Guard Chief Warrant Officer at the Naval Academy. We will now dramatically zoom in on the map of Wilkia. 1 year ago, April 5th, 1938, 800 hours, the cadets of the Wilkian Naval Academy begin their training. A part which we are going to skip because the tutorial takes like 2 hours, and I already know how to play the game. So we are not playing the tutorial. How do I lowercase? Oh. Yeah, it's been a while. What? That's not what I wanted to do. The keyboard in this game is very finicky. I don't know why it does what it does, but we're just gonna be Matt's fleet. That apostrophe looks terrible. So we'll just call it something random from the list, I guess. Suicide Fleet. Wilkia Strike Fleet. Alpha Team. Wilkian Navy. Navy SEALs. Steel Gunners. Warship Gunner Fleet. Royal Fleet. Well, technically we are the Royal Guard in the story, so we'll be the Royal Fleet. Yes. Starting battle tutorial. Skip. And so we will complete the first 2 missions and call it an episode. These 2 missions determine the first game path that you go through within your first playthrough. Captain. Apparently, I was just thinking about something. Why do you think the Defense Force launched an attack on us, Captain? It's hard to tell much of anything under these conditions. Captain, I have an urgent message from Royal Guard HQ. It's directed to all Guard ships from the Vice Commander Rear Admiral Gartner. Apparently, it is an important announcement about the current situation. Open a line, Lieutenant. Members of the Royal Guard fleet, I regret that I must take the place of our deceased commander and pass on a bitter message to all of you. Today, a military coup centered around the Defense Force military has taken advantage of our joint maneuver to erupt across all of Wilkia. The coup has taken control of our main cities and military facilities. Luckily, His Majesty the King is safe. On board the Royal Guard flagship, Idavar, which has previously scheduled to tour. Thanks to the brave actions of the Guard's ground forces, His Majesty's family and our political leaders have all safely boarded our Guard ships. The insurgent forces have demanded that we turn over the King and our administration's leaders immediately. But we have no intention of submitting to their demands. However, there is no denying that we have unfortunately an overwhelming disadvantage in this battle. According to these circumstances, His Majesty the King has decided to temporarily leave the country. All ships in the Royal Guard fleet are hereby ordered to escort the King's flagship and to leave Wilkian waters. I will send our route and destination via an encrypted transmission later. All ships are to avoid combat with the pursuing insurgent fleet as much as possible in order to preserve our current resources. That is all. Good luck. Bad news indeed. I might not voice the whole thing because there is quite a lot of text to go through. Anyway, we have our mission briefing. Our main objective is to rescue the Royal Fleet. Failure condition, we sink. Recommended ordnance, doesn't matter because it's going to throw us right into it. But if you were on your second playthrough, anti-ship. So, in the briefing, we are obviously, our mission is explained to us. I'll pause a little bit so that you can read the text if you want. And so it begins. Now this mission, I'm not going to be getting an S rank. I'm going to be intentionally doing this as quick as possible because this mission, as well as the next mission, determine which route you're going to go down in terms of your game path. And the best one to start involves a very quick progression through this first mission, and then a slow and steady progression through the second. Anyways, let's continue. Quite the large oil rig. Alright. There's our ships that we're supposed to escort. Being attacked by enemies.
Main objective updated.
Just go into engagement mode and wreck them.
Enemy ship sunk. Enemy ship sunk.
Enemy ships will sometimes drop lifeboats, as you can see, and you get a, I believe it's a credit bonus for picking them up. Enemy ships will also drop various types of crates, including funds, which can be used in research and development, or parts which you can use to build new ships. They can also drop ammunition and HP.
Enter engagement mode.
So for this mission, we're just going to continue our way down the channel down there to the southeast. I'll farm some kills on the land installations over here, I suppose. We're not going to be doing very much in this mission. In the second playthrough, you can get a lot more done because it doesn't matter too much. And also, there is actually a treasure location on this map all the way in the northwestern corner, but you need a helicopter in order to retrieve the treasure because it is a land base. So you have to have an aircraft carrier or a ship with a heliport. And you would require the assistance of a support helicopter to land and pick up the treasure crate.
Cancel engagement.
And we're almost through the mission. As you can see, the fleet is making its way through the channel. Blue map indicators and ship names are allied. Green is neutral. And yellow is, of course, the enemy. Mission accomplished. And we are not going to return to the battlefield because if we do, we risk triggering a different path. So we're now going to head into port at Yokosuka. And more plot will unfold. After evading the pursuing defense force, we called in at a port in Japan, an ally of ours. However, the only thing waiting for us there was a sudden internment at Yokosuka. The moment we arrived, we were forced off our ships and detained at a facility within the base. Instructor Tsukuba told us he was going to complain to the base commander, but there was no sign of him coming back soon. Held under close surveillance, all we could do was wait and see where the course of events would take us. I don't know exactly how much time passed after that. All of a sudden, the base was filled with shouts and riot. The sound of gunfire followed by a fierce explosion and shockwave, voices shouting out of the chaos, the sounds of wounded men running in panic. We had no idea what was happening, but we waited there with bated breath. The door suddenly opened. We were freed by Instructor Tsukuba, along with his old war buddy, Rear Admiral Amagi. I think we'll call it an episode here and save. because that's a good almost 20 minutes. And we'll continue with the second mission.